Ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, and everything in between, my name is BlazyBard, and I'm joined by the wonderful Alpha Jackal to bring you week 3 of the SCC Challenger Circuit over here on the EU side. AJ, we've got some pretty exciting games tonight, and within those games reveals some very, very interesting fates for these teams heading to LAN.
Absolutely. So don't forget, this is the fourth and final phase of the SCC here in Europe. And that means every single one of these teams wants to be vying for that top 3 position. Because those top 3 will qualify for the Season 4 playoffs. And if you win those playoffs, congratulations. You may find yourself with a path to World Championships in your sight. So we do have 2 sets for you today. The first set, as you saw on the stream, was going to be Hawks Hotel versus Pikarinoobs 2. And the second set, though, will have one team guaranteeing their place mathematically in those split 4 finals, in the form of Belt Slap versus the Snake Pit, both of which on 3-0 records as things stand.
Yeah, I'm really excited to get to that game later on tonight. Obviously, these two teams been super, super dominant. Belt Slap especially being, I think, 3-time back-to-back champions of playoffs, so obviously they're looking to go again at the end of this split. Snake Pit, though, have been looking dangerous this split so far. As you said, 3-0, rivaling Belt Slap's record so far, so really interested to see how these two teams will go head-to-head later on. But let's bring it back to this first game for this evening, AJ. Hawks Hotel versus Pikarinoobs. Now, these two teams are lower half of the standings at the moment. Hawks Hotel currently on 0-2 versus Pikarinoobs 1-2. What are we thinking for these two teams? How are we feeling?
Well, I think it's looking a bit dire, more so than you're making it out to be for Hawks Hotel, because with results coming in before the SPL started, on stream, they did end up falling down to Belt Slap, which means they're now an 0-3. The best that they can hope for is to win their final 2 games to go 2-3, and for them to qualify for those split 4 finals, they need to have other results go their way as well. The two teams do hold fate in their own hands themselves, and that is going to be one of them, Pikarinoobs 2. Surprisingly, one of the teams that we thought would be languishing down towards 5th and 6th spots at the very beginning of the split, do find themselves with an opportunity to get 3-2 as their end total, and put themselves in really good spot to qualify for those split 4 finals.
They've got one hell of a road to face through, though. First, they got to go through Hawks Hotel, and then later on next week, they got to fight their way through Snake Pit. But let's focus on the first one to begin with and jump straight into picks and bans for game number 1 here. These two teams, both known for their mid laners, quite literally right there in the title. Pikarino anchoring that mid lane for Pikarinoobs 2, and Hawk over here in the middle floor of the hotel, I guess you could. But does that analogy work? Is that going to break down on me instantly?
I have no idea. What would be the midpoint of the hotel? Like, would it be the? It could be the lobby. I mean, everybody goes through the lobby, and everybody seems to be in mid lane these days. So yeah, it would be the lobby. Speaking of everywhere these days, Cupid is going to be taken off the table here by Hawks Hotel. Not really trusting in themselves for that to be the first pick, or they're looking at something alternative in maybe the form of a Persephone.
Actually, yeah, Cthulhu being answered back here by Pikarinoobs, and the Ra is going to be banned out. Now, we touched on the Ra last week a little bit, and I was a little confused as to its position, but I think we clarified after, I believe, seeing Snake Pit run it in their game against the Puppies, and we saw how devastating that was then. Persephone is going to be banned out here by Pikarinoobs, though, so potentially that alternative looking a little bit sketchier, but the Afro being banned out here by Hawks Hotel.
Don't like the sound of healing, do Hawks Hotel. So I imagine they're also going to be taking up a Sobek, could potentially even look for the Odin if they really don't like healing. But Tsukiyomi is also taken off the table, leaving open a highly contested Kali, as we've seen in Europe time and time again, is constantly taken up early. Thoth, not exactly the first pick that I was expecting, but then you have a look at who they're facing in Pikarinoobs 2, and then it becomes a lot clearer. They just don't want Pikarinoobs to have this safety pick of his.
Absolutely. I was just about to say the exact same thing. We've seen it time in, time out. Pikarino goes to this Thoth whenever he feels uncomfortable, whenever he's backed into a corner, it's his go-to, and seeing Hawk Hotel take that away from him is a pretty interesting play. But we'll have to see if Hawk can play it as well as the man on the Noobs team. But Guan Yu's going to be picked up for, I assume, the solo lane. could be flexed into that support pick,
Could
but
be.
it's a little bit more of a danger pick nowadays. But Rama's going to be locked in right alongside it. They got the best hunter in the game at the moment, AJ.
Yeah, and they don't have to face the second best hunter in the game, which is Cupid. So they're feeling quite nice right now. But don't forget, recently, Onher and Apollo also did receive a buff. Their dashes or their leap, depending on which god you're talking about, are fired a lot quicker. Their animation goes a bit quicker, and they land a bit quicker. So the leap does feel a lot more impactful. It almost feels like you can't miss it if you're a tenured Onher player. You will pretty much always get that pounce into the knock-up, into the knockback that you then just impale somebody into the wall and kill them. So it's a really good time to be an Onher player, and if you're playing up against somebody like Ram, who can play quite safely, you have the license to go a bit more aggressive here and probably even start to dominate the lane early.
That's kind of what we want to be seeing here from Stray Cup, who's the ADC here for Hawks Hotel. We were talking a little bit about him earlier, just before the game, and you were kind of telling me he was this up-and-comer ADC who's looking a little fresh into the scene, looking to get a bit of experience under his belt, but is looking pretty spicy and making some pretty decent plays. So I'm really hoping to see him pull out the moves on Anha, which is this very traditional 1v1, ultra skill ADC god, as we're going to see Yorm and Merlin picked up as these last two picks from either team, and Darshi and Yamoja getting banned in the second phase here. Yamoja I probably would have liked to have seen banned a little earlier on, but SCC don't tend to prefer it, so who's to say?
Oh, we do see a bit of Umoja more often than not. It's just that teams have started to step away from it. Especially if Sobek is on the table, teams have not elected to pick up the emoji. The early game aggression from that pluck, the fact that lurking in the waters will almost negate any attempts to keep Sobek in those Rivers Rebuke, means that it is a very difficult matchup for the emoji. And they haven't even talked about the anti-healing, and I talked about Carly being a potential first pick, and here she is getting through the second round of bans and automatically take up Pikarinoobs 2. This is a very dangerous draft so far from Pikarinoobs 2. They've got some nice early game secure in that Ram and 1U, and then they've got the late game to back it up with that Ram once again, the Merlin and the Carly. It's a very nice, well-rounded draft so far, I feel.
The only thing I can really say for Hawks Hotel, their draft at the moment going up against this Carly is both very easy to get away from the Carly. You dash, wait for her to jump on you, throw off the root, and then you walk away. Picking the Erlang and the Kumba, I think, are very, very good measures to counteract this Carly. It's really going to help their squishies to survive, is the only way that I can really put it here. So I think drafting into the Carly, probably very well done by Hawks Hotel, but I got to agree with you. I would rather be in Pikarinoobs' shoes. Oh!
It was
to make
going
me eat
so
my words.
well. It was, you have these top tier picks. You go, Guan Yu, Ram, Merlin, Carly. It's all-star roster, and all of a sudden, you pick Chuck. Like, I know he didn't win my Twitter poll of worst god in competitive, but A, he made the finals, the top two, and B, he's not been better ever since the launch tournament for very good reason.
Listen, last week we were talking about Julio taking advice from Morgao. Now, it looks to me like Captain Oti might have been hanging out in the same group. Because this, I mean, it's not as well known as the Nox, but Chak is a pretty Morgao character to pick up, I feel.
I mean, I can see it making sense simply because it's a good counter to Erlang Shen. And that is the fact that he's got good attack speed slow with his Rain. Erlang Shen does not like being slowed whatsoever, and that's what the Rain does as well. Decent silence forces him to ult early. But it's Shark. Please pick something different.
Well, let's go into game. We'll see what this Shark is, for starters. It could be support. It is going support.
I like this, okay? I personally think, and this is Galaxy Brain thinking here, that Shark is a better support than he is solo laner.
Okay, right. I agree with you. But he's better in support than he is in solo. That doesn't make him good. It just makes him better in a different role.
It does. I still don't think it's a good pick, but I think the ability to survive for that long as the Shark is quite strong. I think his early game pressure allows him to soak up the draft, which is... hello, Dave, so you mistimed that a bit there, mate. But I think it just allows him to soak up the early game pressure, which they might be expecting here from the Kumbhakana and from the Honor. If Streak Up jumps in, he could find himself dead very quickly.
Oh, but there are so many better options that they could have gone with if they wanted an aggressive support who could live a long time. Hercules is on the board. Move the Guan Yu over there. Horus is an option, you know. I don't really see the merits of Chuck, but we're going to see Aitori blink in here, use the spin, and throw the axe, but the damage just isn't really too impressive. Streak Up and Dazer are just going to pop some potions and be relatively fine, although they are going to get pressure in this lane. So if that is what they were hoping for, at least they got that much.
Just look at that Chuck damage, just flowing out, putting on her under half health. That's the thing you're picking for. No other support. Okay, there's many other supports in the game that can do that. You know, I'm not even going to finish that sentence. It will be interesting to see exactly how this Chuck transitions into this mid-game and late-game role. Simply because his engage is a big, giant knock-up. Knock-up is one of the best CCs in the game. It just takes a long time for it to, you know, come off. Pikarinoobs, no dash available to him. That's good aggression by Fails.
Yeah, and well, Hawk nearly picks up the kill there, but thanks to Rapio keeping him covered, he's going to reverse it around. Hawk falls down. And there is no way Fails gets away here, right? Rapio doesn't have the lash available to him, can't deal that last little bit of damage. Pikarinoobs just does not have the same kind of range, but it's not going to matter. Getting first blood onto the mid laner, I think that was Pikarinoobs going, right, listen here, Hawk, you're going to come into my house on the day of my daughter's wedding, and you're going to pick Thoth into me? No.
I appreciate the reference. I like the fact that you tried to make it work. There's no wedding to be had, unless it's a red wedding, and Rapio certainly taking use out of that. Manages to find his mark as the first target as well, and that first blood bounty on top of that means he's off to a fantastic start, the start you really want to see as a Kali. And for Hawk's Hotel, that's just a disastrous start. I mean, you do have the good aggression from Fails, but it seems like he was on not the same wavelengths as Hawk, who dashes in a bit late there. If Hawk and Fails are talking and communicating correctly, that is first blood day in, day out.
Yeah, absolutely. I would have almost preferred to have seen Hawk level the wall there and just get that extra bit of range on the one, rather than trying to go for this dash play, because not only does it put him in a bad spot, but he also doesn't... You see him there, right? He doesn't have the range with the one to actually finish off the kill after the fact, so... I think with the wall and the one, he could have been able to pick up that kill, absolutely. The saving grace, I want to say, for Hawk's Hotel is, at the very least, they're winning over here in the solo lane so far. But if there's one person I do not want to get first blood, that is Kali, every day of the week.
What about Chuck support? Do you want to give first blood to that?
I'm fine with giving Chuck support first blood, honestly. Like, what's he gonna do? Swing at me harder? Oh, well, yeah,
yes, he will. He absolutely chunks. Have you ever been hit by full damage Chuck?
Yeah, but this isn't full damage Chuck, right? That's the difference. If it's a Chuck mid or a Chuck jungle, you know, I mean, perish the thought, but if they're building this damage build, then sure, giving them first blood, maybe they get off to the snowbally lead and they just absolutely wreck the game. But this is support Chuck, you know? He's got Guardian's Blessing, he's just finished the Warrior's Boots. He's going to be tanky. He's going to be swinging a bit with that power from Warrior's Boots. But it's still not really going to be much of a threat after 8 or so minutes. But Rapio, speaking of threats, he's going to come over here and be the Noodle Slayer.
Yeah, it's not even a mark kill. The current mark is Fails. We saw that just pop up onto his back at the very beginning of the game in the mid lane after first blood happened. So unexpected gank there. Maniac does fall down. You're going to see on the replay as well. Captain OT does well to put him low. Maniac comes in, stun immediately, and it's a quick, clean kill. Maniac, no chance to ult, no chance to survive. Well played from Pikarinoobs 2 so far, who have opened up themselves just shy of a 1,000 gold lead, and in 5 minutes, that is impressive stuff.
For sure, especially on, you know, the team that not 3 weeks ago just moved up from the SOC to to face off with the big boys. So props to them. They're doing an absolutely fantastic job. And I actually did want to touch up on something, but over here on the left-hand side, not letting me finish my point. Up into the sky goes Rama. Streak Up trying to get his way into tower. He's going to do so with a nice little impale to push Itori away. He's going to walk into lane, just go, hey guys, what's up? And, well, Pikarinoobs are just going to finish farming up, and it looks like they could essentially go for an invade onto this Alpha Harpy here, but Hawk in the mid lane is going to manage to pick up Pikarino at the cost of his ultimate. What happened there?
It looks like it's just a good old-fashioned tower dive. Pikarino was left by himself. Fails is trying to run away from Rapio, but Rapio has got the mark onto him. Good rotation from Maniac just to try and help his jungler escape with that slow. But look who's there, it's Itori. Fails is nowhere to run, and up goes yet another mark kill. Rapio 3-0, off to a blind.
Itori wanted that kill. He threw down the axe after the ultimate. He knew what he was doing. He wanted that kill, but luckily Rapio was able to pick it up, and he's back over here in this right-hand side, looking for Maniac once again. Maniac is going to find his way into the ultimate this time, though, and World Serpent is going to get him away just about. He's going to make his way back over to these back camps and try and get a little bit of farm for himself, but Pikarinoobs are off to a flying start.
Yeah, it's just a shame that he had to sacrifice their namesake in the mid lane. He was left alone by himself, opted not to use the beads on that taunt from Fails. Just thinking that he was dead to rights either way with that Thoth ultimate being charged. So good relic usage from him, or lack thereof, to say the least. Streak Up has found himself a bit of an advantage over here on this duo lane side, and that should spell a bit of ideas from Hawk's Hotel. They should be able to start pressing their wards up more aggressively. That's exactly what they've done with Dazer warding up very aggressively onto that red buff. Catches rotations out from the Shark and Carly, coming over to try and relieve the pressure onto iDavy, and what's more, will allow them good positional advantage on potential invades.
Well, speaking of invades, this is exactly what they're going to do. Looking at this purple buff here, Itori waiting in the wings. Now, this is probably an advantage of the Chuck. He's going to manage to pick up the purple buff there with the axe, so very well played by him. Dazer is caught out now, getting separated from his mid lane, from his ADC through the ice, but here comes the ultimate from both of them. Dazer knocks him up into the sky, but the timing is not quite there from Hawk. It's going to be just a little bit off the mark with the final touch, but iDavy goes up, comes down, goes even further down into the ground there, thanks to Hawk, who's going to pick up his second kill. Fails now. In some trouble, Rapio's going to find a little bit of damage onto him, but it's going to wipe the fight, and Hawk's Hotel come out of that with, I believe, 2 kills under their belt. No, just the one onto iDavy, but that's still a W in my opinion.
Just the one, and they don't sacrifice Dazer as well thanks to that sleepy passive. iDavy going up to the sky was questionable, to say the least, considering everyone was surrounding him just before he got up there. The rest of his team scatter away, trying to get someone to a safe position, realize to leave iDavy alone. That just means he's out of the fight completely. Free kill for Hawk's Hotel there.
It was just very well done. It felt very clean from Hawk's Hotel. They went there for the invade. They didn't get what they wanted, but because of an extra rotation from the mid jungle, they were able to find a kill on top of that. So, I mean, hey, would you rather take a kill or a purple buff? A kill onto the ADC at that.
I'll take a kill onto the ADC, try and get my my own ADC a bit further ahead. But there is some disparity joining up in 2 different lanes. Maniac was already ulted over here on the solo side, and that's going to be a very quick and easy kill. The Noodle falls down once again. Captain Odie switching things up, ulting when Rapio's not in the wings, forces Maniac to ult early, and without down, that's a free rotation.
I think it's really, really smartly done from Captain Oti. You know, recognizes that Maniac is just going to be holding that ult until Rapio comes over, because he's shown presence already. He's shown that he's wanting to come over into the solo lane. Forces it early, picks up the kill. Beautifully done. Pikarinoobs now under some pressure once again, but off the mark is final judgment. Dazer takes a couple tower shots. Pikarinoobs is going to be just fine, but this red buff looking like it could be under duress, but it's not quite spawned up just yet, so instead, Bells is going to look for the purple.
Yeah, purple invade going to be very clean. Davey left by himself once again, as Pikarinoobs 2 elect to just farm up as much as they can on this right-hand side, getting the tier 1 tower in the solo lane to boot, giving themselves just an extra bit of gold. But once again, Pikarino's going to be under duress in the mid lane, dove on the tower by the Yolong Shen, and once again evaporated before he has any chance of returning any damage.
And Tori's walking into mid lane here, trying to do something, but not really too much that he can do. all by his lonesome. Two people showing up with presents there. And you could see the ping coming out. You know, they were like, all right, Pikarinoobs taking the step up. Let's go and punish him. Punishment is going to happen over here on this left-hand side as well, as Davey and Streakup both trading their ultimates for each other. Only one of these snipes hit, though. Two. The last one connected there from Davey. The impale into the wall there. Streakup spots out the Kali. Up and down goes Rapio. Is able to find the destruction. Davey picks up the kill, though. No full heal for Rapio quite, but he is going to get the kind of heal. Final Judgment is going to come through. Streakup is going to pick up Chuck there in that duo lane. So 1-for-1, Pikarino is getting... Well, he's bullying Pikarino again, of course. But luckily isn't going to be able to get the kill onto... well, lucky for Pikarino. Maniac is probably going to be a little sad about it, but he's going to get some backhand all to himself. That's a 1-for-1 trade over in that left-hand side.
This is one of the big things that solo laners need to understand and realize. If you have yourself a level lead, if you have yourself your tier 1 tower taken from the opposition, if you've got that for your team, and you have yourself a level lead, rotate, make use of it, put the rest of your team ahead with the pressure that you've got. And conversely, what Maniac's doing is the correct decision as well. His tower's gone, he's been put behind, there's not really been much going on in his lane apart from Rapio rotating consistently. So just invade while you can, rotate while you can, stay as little time in your lane as possible and affect the rest of the map. So both solo laners have the opportunity to rotate here and just abandon this solo lane, and only one of them's taken that up, and it's proven effective for him.
I feel like that is one of the biggest differences that we see between high-level play and potentially lower elo, is that solo laners in lower elo just tend to think solo lane is a little island, you know? You don't have to leave your little island until 20-odd minutes into the game. As over in the left-hand side, Davey is experiencing pain in his little island. Bale's coming in as well to attempt to pick up the kill, but up into the sky goes the ADC. Davey trying to rain hell from up above, but I don't think it's going to matter too much. Bale's diving here on the tower, does use the ultimate, uses the turtle form to try and survive. Just about gets the heal in time to survive that tower shot, although might have been fine either way. Dazer is going to pull down his Rapio, though. Streakup might find him as well, but look at this. Jumps over in the wrong direction. Now he's going to get rooted. There's going to be the final judgment, putting Rapio into the ground, and now Tori picks up a double of his own. Level 11 now is the support after that play. Now rotating over is Maniac. He's looking to find Hawk potentially, but not very needed, as his mid laner is going to be just fine, so Maniac doesn't need to find him or any sort of support at all. So
I was going to talk more about the fact that we see 2-level leads cropping up here and there. In fact, every single lane has at least a 2-level disparity, but Tori is now 3 levels up over Dazer. 3 levels! The support is about the same level, is the exact same level as Fails in the jungle. And he's just going to be filling full tank. He's got that gauntlet halfway stacked, while Dazer only has 5 stacks on it. He's now 4 levels. It's now 4 levels. 4 levels ahead as the support. This is...
Okay.
This is how you need to play this sort of janky support pick, though, is get ahead and run with it.
For sure. It's going to really help him in the short term, I suppose. Whilst everyone else is still similar levels, whilst he's got this really big lead, he can kind of show off Chuck's innate high damage scaling in terms of level rather than power. Right, he's got really high base numbers on his abilities, really slaps earlier on before other people really have a chance to get on board with what he's trying to deal with. So it'll be interesting to see what he does with it, is all I'm going to say. But looking once again to invade this purple buff is Hawk's Hotel. Up into the sky, attempts to go Davey, but he's not going to make it. Tori will trade out the kill, though, picks up the ADC conversely on Hawk's Hotel. Now it's Dazer under some trouble yet again, running away from Rapio, who's going to jump right onto his face. He's going to pop the destruction, but he's going to be just fine, walking away with a double kill for Hawk's Hotel, onto Hawk's Hotel, rather. The Pikarinoobs pick up 1 death on their side as well.
That's the plan from Hawk's Hotel, though, is just give Streakup as much room and as much pressure as possible. Unfortunately for them, Pikarinoobs 2 have figured this out and have started to rotate loads of people over towards this purple buff consistently, not allow them time to breathe and get those invades off cleanly. Davey, once again, the sacrificial lamb, though, is not going to be too happy about that, sitting at 1 and 3, but he's still happy with the fact that he's only just 1 level behind, and not too far behind on these Devourer's Gauntlet stacks.
He's also decided, instead of going for the Atalanta's bow, which is very often what we see after boots for hunters nowadays, he's decided to go for what I can only assume to be either an RC or a kin size, which I believe is another relatively common build for ADCs, but why do we see him potentially leading for that light blade rather than the bow that we see from Streak Up?
Going for the kin size allows him to chew through Dazer, Fails, and Maniac more so than if he would have got Atalanta's bow at this stage of the game. And what's more, I do believe that Streak Up isn't going to go for the Atalanta's bow here. In fact, it's going to go for the Ikaival. Ikaival is a great choice for those boxing ADCs that don't have stims themselves, namely Heimdall, Onher, and Ulla would be the three that really pop to mind. Ulla less so because he uses his abilities to box, whilst Heimdall and Onher use a mix of both. And what you'll do is you hit the first couple of basics, after which point your attack speed, even with the stim activated on the other hunter, will be roughly the same, whilst you are swinging a lot harder because your basic attacks just naturally do so.
Fair enough. Thank you, AJ. That was very insightful.
Thank you. Oh, you're very welcome.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Team fight starting off right now with Captain OT going down to about 3/4 health, but Maniac being returned to the damaging kind. In fact, takes a lot more for his trouble.
It's not really going to feel too comfortable here at half HP, and you can see him, he's going to actually back to base, potentially using the TP to come back into the fight, as already starting on this Gold Fury, our Pikarinoobs is already at half HP, and no one here from Hawk Hotel is really in position, but teleporting into a ward just behind the Gold Fury pit is Maniac, so using that positional advantage he got from it. Itori is caught out, now pinned to that pillar. Captain OT's charging forward though. Here comes the final judgment, doing lots more damage to Chuck. He's going to fall down to Fails, up into the sky. In the back line goes Maniac. But looks like over here in the front, Carly's going to pick up a kill for herself. Now chewing through the tank. Pikarinoobs, though, on the other side of the map, got a kill for himself. And now down into the sleepy mode goes to Bakana. Up picks another kill for Pikarinoobs. And out slinks Maniac, just trying to survive with his life.
3 for 1 for Pikarinoobs 2 as they take a commanding statement in this game. Raphael's looking for Hawk. Managed to find him at the tower, but the leap just not good enough. Puts him a bit too far away. Gets rooted for his trouble. Takes a lot of damage. And now Hawk's the one out for blood in this little 1v1, the Battle of Wits. Hawk might look to dash in, but if he uses his dash, Raphael's going to immediately turn around. Oh, he should sleep away. Maybe because Raphael doesn't have destruction available. As destruction available, immediately turns around the second Hawk dashes in.
Potentially. Hawk actually does a little bit of a misplay there, confirms the route, and then tries to lead the second shot of the Glyph of Pain, which is the wall. Sorry, the Glyph of Power.
The
one. That one. Thank you very much, AJ. I'm good. But yeah, he tries to lead that second shot whilst Carly is still rooted. Would have hit all three, which I believe would have put Rapio in the ground. So very unfortunate for Hawk. He's going to be relatively upset. But 4, 1, and 2 at the moment is the titular character of Hawk's Hotel. He's really leading the team 2 levels up from his counterpart over on Pikarinoob's side. Really going to be the calling card for this team at the moment, trying to pick them up out of the dirt. But Streak Up over here in the left, trying to keep taking this 2v1. Both ultimates forced, but it looks like he could potentially lose the 1v1 to Itori. But look at this, puts the pillar down. The lifesteal is helping him stay alive. Pikarinoobs comes in, but the jump is available already. Streak Up is going to find his way out, and now Itori could be in some trouble. Gets messed up by Dazer. The CC chain is even longer. Up into the sky he goes. There's the final judgment. And Fails is there to take credit for the kill.
Yeah, what a 1v2 there from Streak Up. Ikaival comes to the rescue, and just means that Itori has no attack speed himself. Unfortunately for them, even though they got those 2 kills, they could potentially lose the objective over here. Maniac forced to ult early. But that means that they should be safe on this objective, allowing them some time to push down some towers, specifically in the mid lane and on that left-hand side.
Well, potentially, but it looks like Maniac is going to try and contest this Pyromancer still instead of leaving out. Streak Up has come to try and help out his solo laner, but I'm not really sure there's too much he can do. He's going to get stunned here, trying to find the damage onto Rapio, jumps now onto Captain OT to try and get his way out. Maniac falls under the ground, but Destructions is going to come to stop the knock-up onto Rapio. Streak Up still super low. That Tower Assault is going to do too much damage, and down falls the ADC, who's trying to box the solo laner from 3 levels down. 18 is the level on Captain OT at the moment, and they're going to go straight back to the Pyromancer.
She interrupted once, interrupted twice, and interrupted the 3rd time by the rotation from Dazer. It means they're going to give up the ghost on this objective. All right, Maniac's even back to haunt them for the 4th time, so just definitely don't want to do this objective anymore. 2 minutes and 10 seconds on that Gold Fury respawn will be the Primal Fury, so we'll just allow you to take those objectives just that slight bit quicker in the jungle. And I imagine some ward coverage will start to pop up on this left-hand side in the next few seconds or so, especially considering Pikarinoobs 2 have 3 sentry wards in their inventory, and Rapio's just back to base to buy some more.
At the moment, AJ, Hawks Hotel are looking like, well, they're looking a little scrappy, right? With 3k behind, 2.5k behind. 3.5k behind. I'm not very good at maths, apparently, at 1 in the morning, but they're looking a little financially in trouble. In these fights, we're seeing them get the trades, which, I mean, is better than getting nothing, but not really winning any of these fights. What kind of things do we need to start seeing from Hawks Hotel to really start taking command and getting that lead back?
Well, first of all, if a team goes for an objective 1, 2, 3, and 4 times, you know they're going to go for a 5th time at some point, so maybe just pick up the ward coverage just a tiny bit. You know that Hawk is ahead, he's ahead by 2 levels, you know that Streak Up is actually manhandling this duo lane, so take as many fights as you can over on this duo side with them together. But so far, it's just been the thorn in their side of Rapio and Captain OT have been too effective at the dive. I mean, look at the slash onto them. 6-1 and 6 for the Kali, 3-0 and 3 for Captain OT after he's made his rotations from that solo lane, which we asked him to do fairly early in the game. They just need an answer for those dives, and that should be the Kumbhakana, picked as one of the best counters to Kali from the support role that you can pick in the game, but it's just not been effective. Daze has been singled out most of these times and even just shredded by those two themselves.
Well, speaking of Dazer, we'll have to see how he acts in this fight, as he's going to start by mezzing Davey. Final Judgment's going to come through alongside the Desert's Fury, and Rapio's going to die before the fight even really has a chance to break out. Davey on the backside here, falling very low himself. Captain Oti as well, nearly falls down, forced to ult away, but Davey now under some duress under the tower, goes Maniac, but recognizing the spacing, he's going to come back out. Now Primal Fury has just about spawned. We could be seeing this objective being pulled here, as Tori is going to fall down.
Tori should fall down here. Yep, there it is. Hawk manages to dash and take the kill. Captain OT is still around. Full health, full mana after utilizing that teleport. And with the time bought by Tori, Captain OT, Pikarino, and Davy's presence alone is enough to scare off Hawks Hotel from this objective. So despite the fact that they lost 2 for nothing, maybe even 2.5 for nothing if you count the technical kill that happened onto Captain OT earlier, Hawks Hotel just don't feel confident going for the objective.
Well, I suppose without the combined objective slaughter power, that is Desert Fury plus Final Judgment, they don't really want to go up against Merlin damage with those flames, but they are actually going to choose to take it up indeed. But that is going to be, in big part, thank you to Hawk. Final Judgment does come back up just in time for them to secure that Primal Fury there, and that is going to help them out a little bit when setting up for this Fire Giant, which, correct me if I'm wrong, AJ, but is going to be the next main point of contention for these two teams.
Certainly should be, and this is a good omen for Hawks Hotel. Don't forget, they've come into this set 0-3. Granted, they have played Beltype already, and most teams will take the L in that matchup, but the best they can hope for at the end of this split is 2-3. If they win this set and the set that they have next week. And 2-3 may not be enough for them to get through, but 1-4 definitely will be just curtains for them. So they have to win this set. And so far, they have found themselves behind, and Hawk now finds himself to focus on the dynamic duo of Warriors.
They just do not want to stop diving this Thoth. He has managed to make it all the way under Phoenix. And luckily, Pikarinoobs are not deciding to chase him any further. Itori is getting melted here by Fails, who's just chewing through that massive HP bar of Idavy, but it's not really going to matter. He's going to find his way over the wall. Fails now, conversely getting pressured on himself. Tallow Assault just does so much damage, and Pikarinoobs is going to take credit for the kill. Finally, just about, Pikarinoobs going to take some shots there from that Hieroglyphic Assault. Now it's going to be down to Dazer and Hawk trying to stop this team from taking the tier 2 tower. Streak Up pushing forward on this line. Dazer moving in as well. Itori taking so much damage from these carries. He's going to fall down as well. Now Captain Oki the next time to be looked at, but here comes Rapio jumping straight into 4 people.
That's a reset.
He goes. reset he gets. He's going to try and jump onto a streak up. He's going to find it, but that wasn't his target. He's going to make it out just about. Thank you to the heal from Captain OT, helping him survive through that tower shot. And now it's only Dazer, the last stalwart guardian of this tier 2. But look at the HP bars on Pikarinoobs, and Maniac potentially looking to come around from the top. But no, he's just looking to back. And the tier 2 will fall.
Huge reset there for Rapio. Allows him to dive even further and get himself yet another kill onto the high-value target of the streak up. He manages to get the bleed onto Hawk before he gets ulted into the sky by Dazer, and that bleed unfortunately spells the end for Thoth, who, don't forget, had to use his speed to Nagus in the previous dive that happened because of the pressure of Captain OT and Itori, and that's why they just wanted to keep at just force those relics, force as much safety from him as possible, so the dive from Rapio is a success. And exactly what happened.
And it paid off for them. You know, they got the tier 2. Yeah. They just, like, that whole fight started because Captain OT and Itori were like, ooh, a nice, lovely Christmas chicken right there. Let's go and consume him. And they dove him under the tier 2 tower, and they still came out on top. That's...
I'm glad. I'm also glad that you agree with it being, it should be a chicken at Christmas. It doesn't have to be turkey.
No, turkey can be a little dry. If it's done properly, it can be beautiful, but chicken is a perfectly acceptable alternative, as is
exactly. Very well, the chicken to the turkey now for the fire giant is this pyromancer, and that's going to be made short work of here, as Pikarinoobs 2 find themselves yet another objective. 1-for-1 on the Fury, 0-0 on the Fire Giants, 2-for-0 reads the little mini scoreboard on the Pyromancers. Captain OT getting the best of the trade there against Maniac, although it doesn't really do too much damage. A lot of physical defense to his name. As the skirmish continues and even begins around this Fire Giant, the dance has begun.
Well, luckily for Hawks Hotel, this experience differential is really going to start falling off in favor of them, so they don't really have to worry about that too much. But this stage of the game is really where that financial element comes into play, and sitting just under 6k behind, if I am reading that correctly. It's going to be a bit of a situation as Daze is going in now. The final judgment is charging up. Hawk is trying to find something. Dazer is falling super low, forced out. Here comes Rapio, though, going through these tanks once again. Down falls Dazer into the sleepy mode. Can they find him before he falls down? Luckily, big ult there coming through from Hawk, tearing down those health bars, forcing Pikarinoobs back. It's going to facilitate the continued healthiness and well-being of Dazer. Pikarinoobs aren't going to be able to take that fire giant anytime soon.
Early ult forced from Rapio, early ult forced out from Captain OT, early ult on iDavy. It was a good idea just to try and pump out those ultimates early to force Hawks Hotel into a bad spot, but they just got funneled in the jungle, and there's one god you don't want to be funneled up against. It's going to be this Thoth when he's hit this late game power spike of his. That ultimate chews through Pikarinoobs. Damage coming out from the Hieroglyphic Assault as well, just whittles down the rest of the HP bars, and they have forced to retreat in what should have been a winning fight for them.
Yeah, it kind of feels like a misplay here that Pikarinoobs shouldn't really be doing at this point. You know, they're aware that Hawk hasn't fired his ultimate. They know that it's a huge choke, especially Pikarinu himself. You know, as it looks like Hawk Hotel are going to set up for this Primal Fury, but whilst they're over here, it looks like Pikarinoobs must have had vision because they're setting up the Fire Giant. It's at about half HP already. Dazer's trying to delay them, and back onto it they go. But Rapio looking to dissuade any invaders. Here comes Maniac, though. Fire Giant sitting just at a third of its HP. Rapio takes a big hit there from Streak Up. Those autos are hitting like absolute trucks up into the sky. Goes the ADC. iDavy trying to find the damage. Rapio does find the kill, but isn't going to find the reset. He's going to go up into the sky. Not going to find the grave yet from Dazer, but the smash is going to secure it. Hawk finds one of himself, and now Pikarino's going to take their life with the opposite jungler. Hawks Hotel is going to find themselves down at the exact same members of Pikarino. ADC and junglers missing from both of these teams, and they're going to call it quits there.
Yes, now just an extended arena map for these teams as they battle away 3 versus 3. Not too much more to be said about this fight, though. It's just going to be poke wall. Maniac down to half health. Still, Itori able to heal up. Captain OT also able to do the same. but it's going to be the distance. They need to try and close down on Hawk, but he's sitting way too far back for them to even be able to reach this mid lane.
What do they need to do? Like, who has the capability of doing it? Is it Captain OT on the horse? They've finally found Hawk, and he's going to fall down now for 3v2. Tanks versus the world. Maniac and Dazer are trying to get out. Those protection shreds are going to be good, but just about finding his way under the ground is Maniac. He's going to be able to escape just fine, or is he? It looks like he might be going back in, but doesn't take that third bounce to get out. Dazer has been left. He's gone, leave me, Maniac. I shan't survive, but you must live on to tell my tale.
I would say more fly you fools, as he just sacrifices himself to the massive amounts of slow fields that were just surrounding him at that point. I mean, he had the slow field coming out from the Ice of Merlin, he had the double rain slows coming out from Itori, he had the dash coming up from Captain Oti. Without a wing blade, he's just cannon fodder at that point, and the Fire Giant might be the same as well. Maniac the only one in range to contest this. Look at where Ailes and Streaker are. They're on the left-hand side of the map. They're giving this objective up.
Yeah, absolutely, and this is Enhanced Fire Giant, AJ. This is Shiny Giant, and Hawks Hotel have just given it up for 100% Numero Trace. It's gone for free, my guy. That is a free Shiny Giant. Pikarinoobs are going to back with their hands on their bellies. They're nice and full. Hawks Hotel's only respite is this tier 2 tower in the left-hand side that they've managed to pick up by the skin of their teeth. But they're not going to be in a very good position once Pikarinoobs come out of base with those shiny new items and that shiny new giant.
A nice belt to go along with the tier 3 items that they finish. Let's have a look at the selection, which has been brought up here by Pikarinoobs too. A nice sledge. Finished up for Itori in that support role. Silver Branch bow for Davey. Gives him power for overcapping that attack speed, which he will do from activating his stim. Ooh, Pikarino has found himself with a very nice Obsidian Shard to boot, as well as that Spear of Desolation. A lot of penetration online for him. Those tanks won't be surviving much longer. Magi's Blessing, the pickup for Rapio, as he finds himself with extra bit of CC immunity. More difficult to lock him down. And for good old Guan Yu, you know, every frontliner's dream, it is the Mantle of Discord.
It's like Christmas. Throw in a partridge and a pear tree in there, and you've got an absolute delight. Pikarinoobs are just reveling in their gifts at the moment. I am finding this very hard to look positively from Hawks Hotel, as the Pikarinoobs are currently barging down mid and left, potentially looking to claim this tier 2 in right side as well. As, what is Itori doing? Is he just going to stand under the tower and try and break it down? Yes. Yes, he is. Is he going to be successful? Yes. Yes, he is.
Has he also built a bruiser build rather than a support build? Yes, yes he has. Brawler's Beatstick, the Sledge, and Warrior Tabai. Not really items you'd find on your support, more so the solo laner, but that's exactly what he needs to do as the Chuck. If he's just there as a ult bot, it's not very effective when it's a long channel time. The slow fields just take a while to set up as well, and that really is his major problem. But if you combine it with a bit of damage and manage to force him to leap up into the sky or dash away, then he can follow it up with a teleport from your Axe Toss and Dash, then suddenly you're about half health them with this sort of build.
Well, let's see if he can do that in the right-hand side, as all three lanes are pushed and poised to attempt to take each of their Firebirds hostage. Let's have a look, see if Hawks Hotel can indeed defend as well. It looks like Pikarinoobs are just patiently waiting for these waves to push in. And it looks like they're just about to do that. Let's have a look over here in this left-hand side as in they come. Pikarinoobs blinking in already is Captain Oti looking to find Streak Up. That Telo Assault is really stripping through those protections, but as Daisy is going to find a chunk of that damage. Captain Oti is getting backed off himself thanks to the Hieroglyphic Assault, but he's going to be able to heal up and potentially just wait for the next wave. Rapio's bubble is going to get popped and he's going to be forced to jump away. But I think Pikarinoobs are too upset about having to wait a little longer.
Why is Satori still by himself on that solo lane? He's just 1v1ing against Maniac, getting the losing end of it massively. He needs to join up with the rest of his team and join up with somebody to try and help them push as a duo or even a trio or quad. Davey going to be just out of range of that final judgment. I think that's going to be with Sweat beating off his forebrow.
Yeah, I think he just dashed to the side and avoided that, but up into the sky goes Rapio. He's going to fall down to an early grave, but Davey's going to trade it out. Streak Up's going to fall down as well, so that's going to be a little bit on the detriment to Hawk's Hotel's defense. But without Rapio, they're feeling confident. Blinking forward is Dazer, but not going to be able to quite find the route. Pikarinoobs are going to slink back off into the jungle. And now I have a question for you, AJ, that I've been burning to ask since the Fire Giant, but I haven't quite had the time because this has been such an action-packed game. But riddle me this, AJ. Does the... so we all know, right, the slow, the rainfall, the heal for Aitori also slows attack speed for any enemies in the area. Does that extend to the Axe version, where it covers a larger area as well?
Yes, it does, but the effect will not stack on both of them, so you can't get double trouble. So unfortunately, no Team Rocket for Aitori. But it is a very hefty attack speed slow when it's at this max rank, a very hefty movement speed slow as well. You can combine that with an item in-hand slow, so you can get something like, I don't know, a Frostbound Hammer or a Witchblade like he has done, to stack up that effect even more and just make anybody who's trying to use basic attacks just feel like they're in hell at times. Like it straight up actually feels like you cannot do anything.
So I with that knowledge in hand, I think I have finally riddled out why Aitori decided to opt for this Chuck. Right, looking at Hawk's Hotel, they've got Fails, they've got Streak Up, two very heavily auto-attack based guards with the augmentation of the Glyph of Power from Hawk as well. So potentially by using that attack speed debuff that he's got and augmenting it with the Witchblade, he's hoping to just kind of eliminate Streak Up from the game. And Pikarinoobs are going to pick up the Pyromancer as well to help that process along. But what do you think to my little theory there, AJ?
So, I think that's correct, and what he is doing, he's creating an area where he's telling Fails and Streak Up, no, you cannot fight in this area, please go somewhere else. And he needs to hope that that area is in a good spot right now, as the fight has kicked off.
Well, speaking of being somewhere else, down into the ground goes Monsieur Snake. He's going to slink off, attempting to potentially find Rapio a little bit there, but Rapio's going to be just fine. He's waiting for Fails. Might potentially find him here in the jungle. Bubble's still available to him, so he's still relatively safe. Diving out of the fight goes Streak Up, but Aitori diving straight back onto him. Look at that health shield. Streak Up already at half HP. There's the Glyph of Power to try and hold the line here. Davey is going to find the first pick. Maniac falls down. Now Hawk looking to return some of this damage, but Pikarinoobs, satisfied with that pick, are going to slink back off and try and pick up this Fire Giant, but Hawk's Hotel still holding on to that ultimate is Hawk, so if he can find the right spacing, potentially he could look for a steal onto the Shiny Giant, but Pikarinoobs have shown before that they aren't really a kind of team who you're going to be able to get that steal from.
So, they do have the final judgment up and available to them, which is going to be their big steal potential. But they have to hope that Fails is alive to help them get out of that bad spot. Rapio's forced to use his Destruction Ultimate early. They want Fails, and they're going to be able to pick him up. Aitori claims the life of him, and Final Judgment is going to be off the mark. The steal potential is gone. And if I'm Pikarinoobs too, I'm healing, and I'm going straight towards that Fire Giant.
Yeah, Rapio is the only one here who's going to back to base. Actually, scratch that. 3 members back to base. 4 members back to base. No Fire Giant, AJ. I was in complete agreement with you. I was thinking Rapio needs to back and heal, but he'll be back in time for the Fire Giant. But no, Pikarinoobs instead deciding we're a little bit low. It's probably better for us to just do the safe thing. We'll go back to the Fire Giant, but I'm not sure if they quite have the damage to just burst it down at this point.
I think they might be able to, especially considering all 5 of them are still up, and you know they do have the shred coming out from the Guan Yu. And I must apologize, by the way, because I was remembering a different time in Shark's Rain Dance career. The effects actually do stack if they have both fields out at the same time. Wow. I just had a quick word from production on that one, so my apologies to everyone in chat as well.
Well, that's terrifying, and it's going to be even scarier now that Pikarinoobs have picked up this Fire Giant and are looking poised to pick up the, I've tried this every single week. We have Pikarinoobs to try and think of a nice punchy synonym. Not synonym. What's the one where you...
Simile?
Nope. We'll think about it later as Pikarinoobs are looking to... Not quite, we'll think about it later. Pikarinoobs now looking to charge through to pick up this right side Phoenix. Hawk Hotel, though, do have a really good defensive comp. They have some really decent long-range poke options. But on the counter to that, Pikarinoobs also have a fair amount of healing. We do have a little pause here, though. So we'll have to see what they're gonna do in just a few minutes. But AJ,
Hmm.
you lied to me, man, about the
Um,
Chuck thing. I'm upset.
I hang my head in shame. I'm just gonna, sit here, take all the criticism I deserve for that one. That is, we see Chuck every single game. Week in, week out, he is picked up every time. And I should know better on a
You
god that
should.
popular.
You honestly should, and Itori should know better than to stand between Streakup and a wall, because he's going to get pinned, and he might fall down here, and he's going to do just that. No Itori now for Pikarino as they look to push in, but Rapio straight to the back line. He's going to pick up Streakup. He's looking for Data. Look at how quickly he's jumping through that HP bar, but thankfully, 3 members here available to try and take down the Kali, and they're going to do just that. Down falls Rapio, down falls Itori, and Pikarino have lost all confidence in this Phoenix Siege. They're running back. They went a little too deep there, AJ.
So that's 2 times that they managed to put themselves onto the Phoenix line and go, right, we're going to go in, we're going to look to try and take down this Phoenix, win the fight at the same time, and, oh, that doesn't quite work. So that's 2 successful repels here for Hawks Hotel. They have to start thinking about potentially it being 1 more, and the game is then in Hawks Hotel's favor, because right now, experience difference doesn't matter. Gold difference might matter just a slight bit as teams look to finish off their 6th item by selling their boots for that speed potion. Looks like we still need to do it on 4 people of Hawks Hotels, whilst Pikarinoobs just got the 1 set of boots still remaining on Pikarino. In terms of everything else, it's an even game.
Absolutely. This is what I was starting to say about 20 minutes ago with the XP differential. But as you... yeah, well, as you just mentioned just then, the gold difference is now also becoming relatively negligible, especially as Hawks Hotel finish up that Primal Fury there, and we're going to see Maniac finishing up his build in just a few moments here. So,
something which is a bit different though from these 2 teams is the amount of Primal Furies that they have gone. You have a look at the Fury respawns: 3 to Hawks Hotel, 2 for Pikarinoobs 2. All 3 for Hawks Hotel have been that Primal Fury, meaning they have the full 21% damage increase on jungle buffs, jungle camps, jungle bosses, more specifically and more importantly. So that means Pyromancer and Fire Giant are at the easiest point in the game that they have ever been for Hawks Hotel. Whereas Pikarinoobs 2, both their Gold Furies, first one, Gold Fury, second one, Oni Fury. No damage increase to any of these jungle objectives.
well, if Hawks Hotel are able to get that 3rd repel, as you just said, potentially they could look to pick up the Fire Giant and end the game, but they're going to have to survive this onslaught first, as right into the backline goes Captain OT, looking to find Hawk, who's just going to launch a big bolt right into his face, but the Phoenix is falling down. Streakup is trying to repel 2 people here. Rapio is getting a little low. He's going to be forced out. Destruction is popped, but he might not survive the landing. Going to be fails. He's going to be the first person to fall down there, followed by Rapio. Pikarino is going to pick up one of himself. That's going to be a triple kill for Pikarino. When did that happen? When did all the hell come from Hawks Hotel? Pikarino. That's a quadra kill. Are they going to let him have it? Yes, they are. That's a big kill for the moment in the mid lane. Pikarino's are going to pick up game number 1 here against Hawks Hotel, ending with a surprise penta from Pikarinoobs. Where did that come from, AJ?
I have no idea where that came from. It's just, oh, we're going to go through this Phoenix just a bit more. Oh, look at Itori. He's just out of the backline. Suddenly, it just pops up on my screen. Triple kill. And I'm like, what? Where was Pikarino this entire time? Must have been the same thing in Hawks Hotel. It's like, guys, there's a Merlin in our backline. Where did he come from?
I feel like that's the story of this whole game, though, right? Like, this whole game was just, oh, okay, well, Pikarinoobs all kind of seem a little quiet until they're not. Like, Rapio had a really, really strong early game and then kind of dropped off late, and I almost didn't notice Pikarino, Tori, Davey, and Oti picking up the slack, getting kills of their own, making these little plays until right then, with that beautiful pentakill there from Pikarino. I mean, wow. What a way to start a set.
Oof, that is one statement of intent there from Pikarinoobs too, and for Hawks Hotel, this is the ultimate chopping block here for them. If they fail to win the next game, their chances of going to Worlds are completely dead. This next game has to be a win for them, otherwise the dream's over. And even then, even if they do pick up the win, it could be out of their hands still.
conversely, Pikarinoobs have to pick up not only this game, but the game against Snake Pit next week to secure their place into the playoffs. So they're really hungry for it, and they want to go back to that playoffs position. We saw them there last playoffs as the SOC team. So I'm honestly, I'm really looking to see Pikarinoobs burst into the scene, burst into that probably fourth, third seed going into playoffs this time around. But ladies and gents, we're going to have to come back in just a few minutes for game number 2 between this set, but I am super excited.
I don't think anybody else can not be. Well, we're going to catch you after this break.
We are back with more SCC action. AJ, last game was an absolute barn burner, ending with Pikarinoobs' wonderful pentakill. Game 2 could be even more fire.
I don't think it can get any more fire than that. I mean, we had about 20 minutes worth of fire in that game, 2 of which were enhanced. And, well, we lamented them a bit for having the exact same strategy going into 2 Phoenix Sieges. So on the 3rd Phoenix Siege, they went, right, let's not actually siege, let's just murder. And it worked out for them quite well. 40 minutes, though, of game time. That's going to take a bit of toll, mentally going to take a bit of a toll, fatigue-wise especially. So it's just up to these players to ride that wave and see if they can bounce back in both aspects.
Well, definitely. Let's just double backflip into picks and bans here for game number 2. But speaking of momentum, as you said, Hawks Hotel, it's going to be rough for them to bounce back. And conversely, Pikarinoobs gotta be riding high after that Penta.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be riding high after the Penta, after the win that they managed to find over this team. I mean, we take it back again to week 1. We have a look at Pikarinoobs 2. They do extremely well against the Pappies, but then in week number 2, they get absolutely swept aside by Belt Slap. I think harder than we've absolutely ever seen any team get swept aside by them, outside of maybe Donkeyhoof in Split 3. But it didn't look good for them, and we had them finishing around maybe 4th or 5th if they were lucky. Now it looks like they could potentially be knocking out one of the teams we said were finishing in the top 3, top 4, and doing so in style.
Yeah, I mean, I said it last game. I'm really excited about Pikarinoobs. I mean, every single week that we have seen this team play, we have been shocked. I mean, week number 1, as you said, took a set of the Puppies. Week number 2, they lost against Belt Slap. Yeah, but it's Belt Slap. And they didn't play bad. You know, they played really, really well. It's just Belt Slap.
I mean,
come on, AJ, it's Belt Slap.
True, but Belt Slap also slapped them harder than they've ever slapped anybody else outside of Donkeyhoof. I mean, those games weren't close.
Okay. We'll disregard last week. Okay,
yeah.
Last week aside,
put last week on a shelf somewhere.
This week and week 1, and even at the playoffs, this team has played super, super well. And I'm very excited to see what they're going to do in this game, as Thoth is once again going to be first picked here for Hawks Hotel. Notably banned are 3 of the characters that Pikarinoobs had last game: the Kali, the Rama, and the Guan Yu. Any respect on the side of Pikarinoobs?
I
Cthulhu, Tsukiyomi.
I have no idea why they're banning those 3 gods. It's just like, no, they were fine last game. I mean, King Arthur locked in though for Pikarinoobs 2 quite early here for the King Arthur pick, so not holding on to the cards in one chest, but Cupid could potentially be picked up early here for Pikarinoobs 2, and that's exactly what's going to happen. The Thoth has to watch his positioning very carefully during these teamfights.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a hard one. No CCI coming out of that ultimate from Thoth, one of the few mages who's got that disadvantage. So I wonder if we'll see Pikarino pick up this Cupid and try to bully him out in this mid lane, as Anha is now locked in for Hawks Hotel. What was was that the Cupid mid, or was that for the Anha lock?
I think that was just for the Cupid mid. I don't think it fits Pikarino's play style. I think Pikarino likes to play these long-range, almost snipe mages. We saw him go into the Kukulkan in one of those games against Belsar, where they had Kabrak and Kukulkan as their sort of combo. So I think he's going to go into the Ra here, potentially, or go back, like you said, to that Kukulkan. Those are the 2 picks which I suspect for them. Or Reprise the Merlin.
I mean, he got a Penta on it last game.
Yeah,
they didn't ban it, so let's pick the Merlin again. Why not? It worked. So that will definitely be a Cupid ADC then. Yamoja is being picked up by Hawks Hotel. So far, I gotta say, overall comp-wise, I gotta give this to Hawks Hotel. They're getting pretty much everything that they want. And if I'm looking at the front line so far, I'm definitely happy taking the Yamoja over the Arthur.
100%. I'll take the Emerger over the King Arthur pretty much every single day of the week. The On-Her has a better matchup into the Cupid than first suspected, with the fact he has CC immunity on his ultimate. Sort of a similar thing to Ching Wei, but it still will most likely eat the damage from that Fields of Love and Heart Bomb combo rather than just the Heart Bomb. It all comes down to what junglers these team picks. Now, will they find ones that are quite synergistic? I'm looking at Pikarinoobs 2. Well, if it wasn't banned away to pick up the Darchi. I could see an Awelix being taken up by them. I could see maybe an Erlang Shen just taken away from Hawks Hotel. But aside of Hawks Hotel, there's not much you can pick here that doesn't really, scream out, this is a fantastic pick.
You said Awelix, and that clicked in my brain. I was like, yeah, Awelix really, really works out well for them here, but they're going to choose to go with the Thor. I don't dislike the Thor either. I think it has some pretty decent play into all of these characters. Yamoja kind of scares me with the Thor, though, because the Riptide can be kind of... Woo. We've seen a few plays here or there of people landing from the Thor ult into a Riptide and going... Woo! So hopefully that won't repeat itself. But the Kukulkan is going to be locked in here to lane against the Arthur, and the Pele is going to get locked in. Last pick for Hawks Hotel. Now, AJ, tell me all about Pele, because I love this
Well,
character.
Pele is a god that absolutely excels at winning the early game, but also does quite well in the 1v1s in that late game, thanks to that volcanic lightning attack. And we had a Chuck in the last game, now time for another warrior that's not picked up quite often. And again, most likely going to go to support. It's going to be the Bologna support coming against the Emoji, with Sobek still on the table as well. Pikarinoobs 2, are you trying to melt my brain? Are you trying to make me question my own sanity? Because that's what they're doing.
Did you ever watch those old Dignitas funny moments videos that they uploaded onto YouTube?
Yes,
The
I did.
old
Those are
Trix
hilarious.
Tank and Variety Squad, right? This is a classic homage to Trix Tank Pick Me Bologna support. And we're going to see it right in game, right now. Show me the Bologna support, Pikarinoobs. There it is. There's the Bologna support. Pick me Bologna.
How about we don't, and let's not F6 scrims because of it, because that's exactly what. Hopefully, Pikarinoobs 2 don't wind up having to F6 this game at the same time. Maybe history goes different for them, but it's all about the jungle matchup in my eyes. Fails reprising one of his top picks outside of the Hombats, which would be that Pele. How about Rapio? Going back to an old school classic of his as well, picking up that Thor. The only thing which I'd say Rapio fits into more than the Thor would be the Thanatos.
I mean, I can't quite speak with your tenure on Rapio's preferences in gods. I've only really seen him on these auto attack based characters for the most part, the Kali, the Bakasura. So it'll be a treat for me to see him on Thor, especially if it's one of his more preferred positions. Hawk, however, really getting bullied here in this mid lane, level 1 by Pikarino. He's really showing his stuff. Over here on this left-hand side, though, Itoru and Davy not quite having the same kind of an impact as they were last game, probably due to the difference between Rama and Cupid Clear, but ooh, Tori gets slammed into that wall there, and that's going to be a decent amount of damage, and they're really feeling this pressure in the dual lane.
Yeah, Tori has to get close to do the wave clear with the Bologna rather than the Chuck, which was throw an axe from distance. Tori's going to be in a lot of trouble now. The curse comes out. It was a bait. It was a bait this entire time, and they're going on to Streak Up now, turning on to Dazer.
They don't really have the gap closer, though. Neither of these players seem to have the dash, although Bologna did level it. Maniac might fall down here to the solo kill level 2. Captain Oti just barely not managing to pick up the kill, but Maniac's still very low. Oh, back over here on the left-hand side, though, Tori forced to put the shell there. Fails is making his rotation. As you said, there's the blink. There's no way he drops this kill. Down falls Tori. Hot bomb is going to be good, but they don't really care too much about the ADC. They already picked up a kill, and, well, that's going to be first blood on the board for Hawks Hotel, and that's a good look.
So I know we've only have a sample size of 1, being the last game that we casted, but Jungler gets first blood, game win. So far so good for Hawks Hotel. They got one kill. Davey gonna get knocked out of feeds. Very well timed there to not get impaled away and into the wall. But trouble for Maniac so far in the solo lane. Forced to go back to base already, or just stayed and healed up underneath tower. He's found himself behind Captain Oti before King Arthur gets onto his ridiculous damage and sustain stage.
Yeah, I was about to say, you know, it's not really the kind of thing you expect from this matchup. You know, Kakullan has a beautiful level 3, level 2. Once he, you know, the second wave, he tends to transform, gets a lot of pressure in the lane, but really fell down low here, nearly getting soloed, as we said, but hopefully he'll have a chance to recover from that, as Dazer getting a little bit of pressure put onto him by Tori, but straight into the wall goes Monsieur Bologna. Streak Up is going to get dashed onto. This is, I think, where Bologna excels, though, right? She can just stick to a target, and as a support, she's got a lot of anti-ADC tools, but Hawk is on his way here now. As you said, Tori does take a few hieroglyphic assault pops, but not really committing. That's a really weird rotation to do and then not commit to the kill.
It was a commit. It was a committal rotation, but he missed his route onto Itori. I think he just fired it off a bit too early. Felt like he was in range, just wasn't able to get the route off because it just fell short. And missed Davey as well. So without the route hitting, then it just wasn't able to get a kill. Dazer gets felled as Rapio makes his presence felt. That's the first Thor ultimate, and that's going to be a kill Remember last week we had a bit of a countdown going down, and it was 0 for, what was it, 8 at the very end? This time,
Something like
starts off
that.
strong.
Yeah, it's absolutely not going to see any repeats of that. Now, this left-hand side definitely has not been nearly as successful as that Chuck, but here's a replay of that Thor roll. He dunks down onto two members here, does steal the purple buff at the same time. No wall available for him, or I guess it was, but didn't choose to put it down straight away, but very beautifully done there by Rapio, recognizing the spacing and taking full advantage of it. Now back into the left-hand side, fails. Looking for another gank, but Pikarinoobs either spot it out over the ward or are just aware of the pressure being outputted by Hawk's Hotel. They're just gonna step nice and close to tower.
I think they know that Fails is over here because it has been warded, as you can see just outside the Alpha Harpy. And what's more, they were also just zoning the wave at tower. They were looking for it to be just killed off naturally by their own minions, thereby forcing Hawk's Hotel to step up outside of safety line.
Well, I mean, what else is there to say, really? This pressure from Hawk's Hotel has been just unprecedented. They've gone and rotated. They've taken everything. They took the Oreos. They took the Alpha Harpy now. They're going to go back to wave. Level 5. Only Davey is level 5 himself. So we could look to see the ultimates being extended right here. But no, Itori does hit level 5 around the same time. So is that just better farm from Pikarinoobs, or am I just missing something?
And so far, I think it's just been slightly better farm, and the fact that, you know, there is a slight, very slender lead being developed over here in that solo lane. The Captain OT has got the pressure over Maniac, and they have found themselves, you know, able to get some invades going off. Speaking of which, Rapper's coming for time number 2.
Up into the sky he goes. Full combo is landed onto Dazer, and Dazer's not going to have a ghost of a chance to slide that streak up. Steps a little bit out of line. Looks at the impale. Not going to quite find it. Fails. It's going to come in, though. Volcanic Lightning, Ripnik through people. He's going to fall down. Rapio is going to find his way out, but Streak Up is going to sacrifice his life, but both the dual lane members from both sides are going to fall down. Bales and Rapio are about half health. Both the mid laners have made their rotations as well, potentially looking for a little bit more as Hawk. But with those hieroglyphic assaults being the last fired, I think that's going to wash the fight, and AJ, that's a 2 for 2.
2 for 2, both dual lanes get felled straight away. I think there was a tiny bit too much committed to Dazer in looking to take him down before he got his River's Rebuke off. And it just meant that Itori was complete cannon fodder afterwards. I do agree that if they didn't get the kill onto him and he got his River's Rebuke off and then he dies, that the fight goes even worse for them, because I think Rapio then falls down afterwards as well. But maybe just... It's difficult, because one fight goes one way, I say it should go that way, and then if it does happen that way, I'm saying it should go the other way again. Like, both fights have their advantageous sides and their drawbacks.
I feel like you're discovering the caster's curse here, AJ. I'm not sure if you haven't had it before, or like if you're just now believing in its power, but it's there and it's real, baby. As over in the right-hand side, Rapio's going to fall down already before I can even change this conversation. Hawk is taken up there by the big ult from Captain OT, but he's just going to try and 1v3 here, but he doesn't have the lifesteal, he doesn't have the Glad Shield that he used to. 3-man, oh, look at this, he's doing so much damage, but there's no one here to follow up. He nearly, if that is Gladiator Shield Arthur, that is a triple kill. Change my mind.
Is. No, that one was 100% going to be a triple kill of his Glad Shield, but if you can't get the kill, you can get the Gold Fury for your team. Falling down right now, considering 3 members were over on their right-hand side. 1 member fell down for Hawk's Hotel over on the left-hand side, and they're just going to help to pick it up. Whilst that fight was going on in solo lane, this is what happened over on the Gold Fury side. Streak Up and Daze have found themselves just caught out by good rotations. And once more, Pikarinu putting on the style, blinking past those auto attacks with his little flicker, and he gets himself out of danger.
Pikarinu, I mean, you took the words right out of my mouth. Just pure style. Blinks in, uses the 2, uses the stance change for that little bit of extra damage, throws out the auto attack and finishes up the kill. This man knows Merlin, inside and out. That is all I can say. That is the mark of an experienced Merlin. And look at that gold lead. We were talking that Hawk's Hotel were building up this lead slowly and steadily, and, well, that is the sheer cliff face that Pikarinoobs just shoved Hawk's Hotel down.
I think they might also be finding a very nice kill to a Cupid as Davey puts himself into a bad spot. Striko might be the sacrifice. Ooh, 1 health, and then just topped up a bit by Dazer at the end. Close trade there.
Well, I mean, that's going to be huge there for Hawks Hotel. Streaker, as we talked about, has been very looked at here, as is Dazer, the target of yet another Thor ultimate. Does use the River Rebuke, and now here comes Failed. There's the Volcanic Lightning, but thank you to a stun from Itori. Looks like everyone's going to survive. Hawk, 1, 2, 3, boom! Gonna clean up a kill onto his rival, Pikarinoobs. It's gonna be a 1-for-2 trade in favor of Pikarinoobs. Absolutely. Over here on the right-hand side as well, Captain OT looking for this little invade onto the blue buff, but Maniac is not gonna let this go for free, and I believe Maniac should have the clear.
He gets it.
He does that. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, both of them have good buff clearing abilities. Both of them have their first abilities which hit quite hard. So it was just a 50-50 gamble there. Fortunately for Maniac, it goes his way. Captain OT is just going to waddle away at this point. Both solo laners having their start of Gaia online. It's going to be the Slapfest once again. And both of them, because they don't have any power online, are going to survive.
It's just wet noodle Slapfest. This is what solo lane should be. Okay, they're just going to slap each other until the end of time, and everyone's going to be okay with it, and it's going to be good, happy, fun times. In the mid lane, though, it's not good, happy, fun times. In the mid lane, we predicted ice showers and achus.
Yeah, we're predicting just all forms of weather atrocities in the mid lane. And so far, it's just been everything but a storm. It's been quite calm. Every bit of action has happened over on the side lanes or in the jungle. Mid lane is electing to have a bit of a armistice in this area. It's the DMZ. It's the no attack zone in that mid lane.
Gotta have one. You know, every good arena needs to have a no man's land where everyone just goes and has a little jump party, and it's fine and beautiful. And speaking of fine and beautiful, oh, well, I thought that was going to be a little bit of a gank over here onto that left-hand side, but Davey finds his way back to base, and that's going to be just fine and dandy. Rapio finds Dazer in the jungle as he's looking to potentially find this purple buff. But Hawks Hotel, they're taking pretty good control of this. Look at the ward coverage here on the board. In comes Itori, looking to force them out, and purple buff should just respawn, and Hawks Hotel are not in position, so can pretty confidently say that purple buff is going straight into the hands of Itori.
Yeah, it should pretty much do so. Started up by Itori. Something which should be noted, though, is the fact that Rapio has elected to go into the Jotun's Wrath as his first item. What this tells me is that he's going to be looking to use that Apple of Dawn consistently and more often. Otherwise, there's really not much of a point building this as your first item. I'd much rather have seen him go into a Brawler's Beatstick if he's not going to make use of the fact he has that 20% CDR.
For sure, the healing on Hawks Hotel is really potent, especially with Pele passive. Dazer is also going to be making really good use of it, and even the lifesteal from Streak Up, whilst not, you know, tons and tons, it's certainly impactful. So we're probably seeing him build into that Brawler's Beatstick now. We can see he's got another Mace tier 2 built up here. So unless he's going to be building some weird Crusher shenanigans, that's definitely going to be an anti-heal item on the board for sure. So I don't think we can worry about him not having anti-heal for too much longer. Well, as I live and breathe, there it is.
It is true, but like I was saying, he could get it online earlier if he lets not go the cooldown. But looks like mid lane will need that bit of cooldown as jumping in as Itori. Bit of poke war going on as Hawk and Pikarino eat each other's damage consistently. He almost blinked into that. Hawk read him like a book.
I feel like we both had the same reaction. We both shuddered at the thought. We could see it from top down. We both knew what was going to happen. But no, I think he just blinked out of range there. If you're Pikarino, looking at that from the sky, that's got to give you a little bit of a spine chill, right? Thinking that was a grave for me, but starting up the Gold Fury off of the back of that play, Hawks Hotel, but...
Oh... In disguise, Rapio, he went up way too early there. Disengage happened, and he's just going to land back down in the mid lane. Plain view of everybody, so they're going to know that that ultimate is down for the count.
Very unfortunate. Maniac here, looking to get some damage onto Rapio. He knows that the ultimate is down, so if he can just find the damage, he will be able to claim the kill, but not quite. In fact, probably just causing a little bit of spacing for Pikarinoobs, as Hawks Hotel are looking yet again to position around this Oni Fury. Can they find it? At the moment, I think it's just a positioning war. They got the wards down, and now they're just going to back off. And I don't think they're too concerned about that. Pikarinoobs is going to put down a sentry ward, though. I thought he's going to grab the 50 gold for that. And these teams are just fighting each other again, just a little bit.
Just a little bit of a slap and tickle. All they want to do is get it into a good position. They just want to have themselves have the ward coverage, want themselves have the advantage in the fight. And Fails is going to be engaged by Captain OT, but he's found himself in the middle of the River's Rebuke.
Yeah, well, Captain OT isn't really too concerned about it, to be honest. He's got plenty of defenses online at the moment. Stone of Gaia as well is really going to help him out with that health regen, so he's not worried in the slightest. Pikarinoobs now have total control over this Gold Fury pit, but they are going to give it up. Looking like they are just kind of wanting to go back and farm, and I think Hawks Hotel have the same ideas. Everyone's just going to start spreading out around the map, but could open the door for a sneaky Gold Fury play, but doesn't look like either team is too interested in it just at this very second.
I like the fact that both teams are trying to go for this Gold Fury because neither team truly accelerates into that late game super well outside of their mid-jungle combination. You can make a case for both solo laners doing extremely well in the late game, but when you think of a Cupid, you think of an Honor, you think of a Kakulin, you think of those as lane-winning picks, you think of those as early game picks that can still do well in those team fights. But what I think Hawks Hotel were trying to do with that Gold Fury was just extend this early game for as much time as possible. Keep the fighting into the jungle, keep the farm away. Pikarinoobs 2 decided, let's not play this game, let's play our own game, force them back slowly, then return to the farm.
And it's a really smart move, and it's paid off for them. You know, Hawks Hotel didn't then attempt to go back to the Gold Fury and sneak it away like we've seen with that situation a few other times here in the SCC. So it really did work out for them, and they're back to farming. And let's have a look at the experience and gold difference. We have a look at it. Pikarinoobs, I do believe, are up a little bit, 1,500 gold and 2,000 experience. So definitely finding that W across the board. Hawks Hotel, yet again, looking to potentially re-engage this Gold Fury dance, I guess is the best name for it. And they do claim the ward coverage in the jungle. Itori could be caught out of position here. There's the final judgment, fired up a little early for my taste, but Rapio's going to be forced out of the fight, and that's going to open up the door for the rest of the field to let come through. Here comes the River's Rebuke as well. Fails is going to fall down already. Captain OT takes credit for the kill, but now Daza in the background. Davey, sorry, he's going to fall down to Maniac. Both solo laners taking credit here. Now Pikarinoobs trying to chase Hawks Hotel back through this jungle, but with Hawk just launching these hieroglyphic assaults into it, I'm not really sure they can follow in. It's really just the two frontliners here left. Rapio has made his way back over, though, and now blinking through is Captain OT. The beats are going to come through from Hawk, and that is going to be instrumental to potentially facilitate this Amber Dawn. As Captain OT's going to find one. There's the second kill from Captain OT. Down falls the ADC. Maniac now caught out of position. Will not quite in the right place to stop him from leaving. He is falling through this choke point here. The slows are going to be good, but I don't think Pikarinoobs have the lockdown at the current moment. Could potentially look for this tier 1 tower, but I would like to see them go back to the Gold Fury now.
Just Captain OT single-handedly dragging the game back into Pikarinoobs' favor as it looked to be slipping into Hawks Hotel's control. What a performance there from the King Arthur. Just goes in, manhandles Hawk, gets his beads, forces him away, kills the dual lane by himself. No backup whatsoever. Rapio lands at the very last second just to take some part in it, but Gold Fury gets stolen by the snipe. Perfect play there from Hawk.
I thought that was just slightly out of range, but no. Hawk has found his critical distance, and he managed to pick up that Gold Fury beautifully there. And, well, I mean, Hawks Hotel will lose Maniac for it, but oh no, the solo laner died, and now we have Oni Fury. I don't think it's a phrase any Smite team will say ever in the history of ever.
No, I think that Hawks Hotel have gotten away with that one, though, and the fact that they could have seen Pikarinoobs 2 just be out of sight for the foreseeable future of this game. But luckily for them, get the steal. Yes, it was only an Oni Fury, but it's just the gold that matters more at this point.
For sure, and it's also the moral victory. You know, we were talking last game about this kind of momentum that Pikarinoobs could potentially have coming into this game after that penta from Pikarino, and by securing that objective, that second Gold Fury, I really do believe that Hawks Hotel have solidified their position in this game. They've made it known to Pikarinoobs, hey, we're not afraid of you. We are going to fight you at every step of the door. We are not put off balance by that penta or that loss. We're going to keep fighting this till the last.
We're just going to keep plugging away, show that we're not down for the count already. Rapio going to go into the sky, looking for Hawk underneath the tower. Tries to predict the dash, but Hawk wins that game of chess by holding on to it for the last till the last possible second.
It's the smelly finger technique, you know. You hold your smelly finger out as the Thoth, and no one really wants to step near you because your finger smells. And Street Cup is definitely showing off his stink as he's going to pick up a kill of his own. Rapio is going to trade it out though in favor of Fails. He's going to take that jungler down into the ground. Captain Oti here just making some space, making some noise as he's supposed to be. And it looks like the rest of Hawk's Hotel are just kind of backing off into the woods now, chased off by the sheepdog that is Arthur.
Yeah, the Captain Odi's creating so much space here. He's very difficult to take down. He hasn't got much physical defense online. In fact, Rapio doesn't have much physical defense, doesn't have much time left, as Maynard going to dive the tower, pick up that kill, transforming at the perfect time. But once more, Hawk instrumental in that kill with that final judgment. So far, so good, though, for Hawk's Hotel, as they've kept parity in this game, kept up with the pace of Pikarinoobs 2 have put themselves under. 20 minutes in, kills are even, gold difference within touching distance, around 1,500 still. Experience lead is where it's at, though, for Pikarinoobs 2, unless you're talking about the mid lane, while Hawk finds himself with the lead, helped by the fact that he hasn't died yet, the only member of the game to have not died. But that puts himself up with a higher bounty on his head. Pikarinoobs 2, you saw just how angry they were with Thoth in that late game last time. They're going to be exactly the same this time around.
And I almost feel like Pikarinoobs have the same kind of problems they had with Thoth last time around, in that they don't really have anyone to jump in and deal with Hawk when he's at a safe distance. Obviously, Anvil of Dawn is the first thing that comes to mind when thinking, how can we close the distance towards the mid laner? But when that's offline, what do we really have? We've got maybe the Roma and Vector, the rally flag from Bologna. But other than that big leap, they don't really have too many good options for distance closing. So I have to see if Hawk can keep that positioning safe and keep himself from meeting a grave, as a really good Riptide there from Deza is going to meet Aitori with a little bit of damage and prevent him for long enough from getting to the mid lane for them to pick up that mid tier 1.
Yeah, it puts himself in a great position to get this Pyromancer as well. Pikarinoobs 2 having to rotate around the safe way, straight through the mid lane go Hawk's Hotel, and straight down goes the Pyromancer. No contest so far from Pikarinoobs 2 on that objective.
You know what I want to see? The way that this game is going, it looks like it's going to be a long Fire Giant fight, AJ. So I just want to say, if this is going to be a repeat of last game, I want to see Hawk get a Penta this time around.
I'll just go Penta for Penta and say,
yeah,
right, mid laners, we're going to keep this game going indefinitely in game number 3. Whoever gets the first Penta kill, we'll just surrender.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly what's going to happen. And it would be beautiful. It would just be so beautiful to see 2 Pentas in one set, is all I'm saying.
I don't think that's actually happened in competitive SMITE. It's always just been the 1 Penta kill. We have been close, but I think it was Cherio managed to get a pentakill, and then in the very same set got a couple of triple kills that looked like they could have gone on towards pentakills. But no, I don't think anyone's got a penta and a quadra in the same set.
I'll have to do some research on that. That sounds super interesting, but Deza might be under some duress, but a nice Moonstrike Beam is going to save his life for now. Aitori takes a little bit of damage, but thanks for those little dumplings from his ADC. He's going to be just fine in a few moments. Deza now getting spaced out a little bit again by Captain Oti, who's just been making so good a use of just what tanky Arthur is nowadays with that Stoner Gaia, but nice damage there from Pikarinoobs, forcing Hawk's Hotel out a little bit, but blinking in goes Captain Oti, but Maniac doing the exact same thing, but he's got more damage than Oti does. Pikarinoobs gonna find the first kill here. Deza falls down, and there's the final judgment. Hawk finds one, but Tori is gonna trade it out in the mid lane and falls down. In trade, Davey, though, is gonna pull down as well. Rapio looks like he could be next, but the damage is good on the other side as well. Hawk's Hotel looking low. Captain Oti's gonna find one, fails, isn't gonna pull down to the support though. Salona's gonna pull down. Aitori isn't gonna take credit for that kill. Rapio has to find his way out on the back line, and that's gonna be a 3-for-3 trade overall. Hawk's Hotel looked like they had it in the start, but potentially stayed a little bit too long, and Pikarinoobs were able to clean it up.
I'd say big props to the solo laners in that fight. Captain OT starts it off well by blinking and just singling out Hawk, forces his beats early. Hawk, uncharacteristic though. You usually find him good relic usage. Doesn't use his Aegis at all during that fight. I think he recognizes he was dead anyway, got his final judgment off before he even had a chance to use his Aegis. So I think he just wants to hold on to the relic for the next fight. But Maniac with the counter engage, the second Captain OT blinks in and finds Hawk, Maniac blinks in, stops the follow-up coming out from the rest. You can see that on the replay there. Three people instantly zoned.
It was absolutely beautiful, and the exact kind of thing that you want to see from your... the exact kind of thing that you want to see from your Kakulin, right? That's the thing you want him to do. You want him to blink in, get a big 3-man ultimate, transform, and then scream at everyone and make them die.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately for Streak Up, he did play... He played that as well as he could, given the cards that he was handed, but unfortunately he just he came up against a better hand, in the fact that the supports were just all the way behind him. And it's going to happen again as Hattori just dashes in, forcing Streak Up to leap away. Rapio was in the sky and he knew it.
Yeah, Hawks Hotel, really, really well. Good job of them to back up when they did. 3 people now caught in the rivers. Rebuke, the damage is going to be relatively big. Rapio already falling down low, forced out of the fight yet again, but fails. Is going to start off this party getting one. Davy's going to find one of his own, though. The support finally falls down.
How much damage?
Aitori is going to fall down, though. Streaker manages to find that kill pretty much all by himself. Now Hawk under trouble. The solo laners once again getting kills of their own. Mid laner for mid laner as Maniac cleans up Pikarino in the back. But Captain OT this time around isn't going to be there to trade and escape. He's going to trade and die.
If finally they take down this King Arthur, but I'm sorry, how much damage did that ult do on landing? Oh, Gold Fury not be able to be stolen there by Rapio. He's used his hammer and smelling blood. The members of Hawks Hotel are still alive, and down goes Rapio. This has been the hallmark of games where Pikarinoobs have ended up losing. It's just consistently death after death after death. Too much fighting, not enough farming. But once more, the team fights too spread out for their own liking, and Hawks Hotel taking full advantage of that. Maniac surviving far too long in this front line consistently, but once more fails. Easy for him to hop between these two different fights, whilst for fails, he has to commit to one of them, and that is a huge difference.
For sure, and I just want to point out the health shield. The absolutely ridiculous health shield that Maniac gets when he transforms and is then given the Water's Blessing from Dazer. Like, that is nearly a quarter of his total HP that he's getting from both of those abilities, and it's insane. And when he pops the Thorns, what are Pikarinoobs supposed to do? They can't ignore him, because then they die. But they can't attack him, because then they die. What do they do, AJ?
I don't know, but are you part of the Zapman school of thought where Thorns needs to be nerfed and removed from the game?
No, I think without Thorns, ADCs would be way too unbalanced, and that would be terrifying.
Thank you. So
I live in a world with lots of Thorns, but we're gonna have to hold this conversation for just a second there, buddy, as Hawk is finally getting dove on, up into the sky, goes Rapio, he's going to land down on the mid lane, and finally, Hawk is going to find his way out of the fight before anything else happens. Aitori nearly going to meet an end of his own, but he's just going to press the B button. Davey is going to get caught out in trade. The mid laner for ADC so far. Now Streak Up is getting caught out in a bad position. Look at his HP, it's already gone. Rapio tries to find it nearly. I called it too soon, it's not gone yet. Captain Oti's going to correct me. Triple kill for fail. Though, is it gonna happen? He keeps bouncing off of that riptide, but he's got too much HP. Can they rip through it in time? I don't think they can.
No,
I think the time is gone. It's just unfortunate. No pentakill for fails, but it could be an unofficial one. As Tori is gonna get stunned out here. The damage is coming through. Fails. Might be able to pick it up. There it is. There's the unofficial quadra kill from the jungler Hawks Hotel. And could this be a fire giant from this team?
It could very well be. I mean, LA hits quite hard on these objectives, especially with the lava flow around her. But without the Hawk, without Streak Up, it's going to take them a while to do this objective. And look who is up, look who is here to fight as Captain Oti once more. King Arthur enters the ring.
Is the disruption master, and I almost feel like King Arthur is scarier in this fire giant pit because he can just bonk you around and make sure that you can't do anything. But Hawk is here now, using that final judgment to finally secure the Fire Giant. And thanks to actual damage showing up, Captain OT might meet an early grave, but no, he is going to be able to spin away like the beautiful royal Beyblade that he is. And he's going to be able to press that B button and just narrowly escape with his life. And Pikarinoobs are going to miss out on Hawk Hotel's coveted treasure, the newly found Fire Giant belt.
Hawks Hotel finally breathing life into their SCC campaign. The hopes of qualifying for that land rested in this game in particular, and they have found themselves with that breath of life once again. It finally looks like, I wouldn't say a 100% polished performance from them, but it looks so much better than what we've seen from them before in this split. And it's refreshing to see because it's putting Pikarinoobs 2 under a lot of pressure, and they're playing to the point where it's almost like they don't have an answer for Hawks Hotel's fighting style.
Absolutely, and Fails has just been popping off. Now, like, Fails has been a player who we've seen popping around at pretty much all levels of play. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we've seen him in the SPL a few times. We've seen him in the SCC back when it was the minor league. And this player is so seasoned. 13-3-8 at the moment on the Pele. And he's really showing the salt that I feel like we've been missing from this player in Hawk Hotel's career. The same with Maniac. Maniac almost looks like he's awake for the first time this split.
Absolutely, but the question is, has it come too little too late for them to qualify for that LAN? We'll have to see if they manage to get the win in this set. First of all, they have to get the win in this game, and then after that, it's the win next week to put them up as 2 for 3. But starting off here, Tier 2 tower on that left-hand side falls down. Tier 2 in the mid lane could fall down as well, or it could be this Phoenix. It depends on what their options are. But up in the fight goes Captain OT.
And already, Street Cup has no speed. There's going to be prime target numero uno for the rest of Pikarinoobs, as here comes the Field of Love and already forced to pop the Desert Fury. Now, Street Cup is completely vulnerable, and down comes Rapio, down comes Pikarinoobs. Street Cup is already dead, and now it's up to the rest of the team to follow up on this brilliant opportunity as Rapio already falls down, but he's already done his job, so that's not too much of a big loss here. It's just about whether or not Pikarinoobs can hold this Phoenix. Now, Maniac is jumping in. Captain OT, the next man on the hit list for Hawks Hotel, and it looks like he's going to fall down, but Fails finally gets touched down. Captain OT turns it around on him, but Hawk is going to find the kill, finally, 1 for 1.
Phoenix
is just about dead, and there it goes. Now, Pikarinoobs unable to hold the line. They are finally able to take Fails off the board, but too little too late. They are able to pick up the Firebird. Hawks Hotel looking one step closer to clutching number 1 in this set.
One victory is all it takes to turn around a season, to turn around a split, to turn around, well, just the tide of the set. And that's exactly what it could happen here. I mean, Tier 2 tower in mid lane is potentially going to fall down on us. Some good zone coming out from Pikarino, and up onto Hawk straight away. He's a man that's just been hunted.
That is a dead man, and that is a dead poor man right next to him, as Daze is going to fall down as well. Double kill for Davey. Pikarino now looking to find Maniac. The pull isn't quite going to find the big monster man. He's going to just waddle off into the jungle. But Pikarinoobs, looking at those graphs, okay, I know it looks scary, but at the end of the day, it's 32 minutes in. The gold and experience difference isn't really going to matter too much. The gold difference definitely more so than XP at this point. I'm not quite sure if everyone's finished their items or not. Yeah, Pikarinoobs still a couple, actually pretty much all members of Pikarinoobs still having their boots available, whereas most members of Hawks Hotel have sold them off and picked up item number 6. So that gold is still certainly coming into play. In fact, a few members of Pikarinoobs not even finishing their 5th item, just about getting that stone cutting sword on the board for Aitori. But it's an interesting spot, right? What do Pikarinoobs need to do to try and come back into this, AJ?
I think they need to do exactly what they've been doing, which is going on to Hawk, going on to Streak Up as soon as possible, but they need to keep an eye on Fails. Fails turning up onto these fights, being that secondary engage for Hawks Hotel after Maniac has created space and taken relics, has just done too much. He's been allowed to operate with a free license, and that has to stop right now.
But who's the best person to do that? Davey? Pikarinu? Rapio? Who do
Itori.
they send? Itori.
Has to be Itori. Itori with his disarm can stop, a lot of the follow-up damage that comes out from the abilities from Pele, which is what she needs in order to be able to take down, quite a fair few people, especially if she's using that volcanic lightning early on in the fight to just mow her way into the back line. Once more, that Eagles rally gives some extra physical defense, some extra power as well, so it can be used to really turn the tide of that 1v1.
Well, let's see if she can do just that. One more fight for Pikarinoobs. I think that's all they get, and already off to a decent start, although 2 people fall on their side, but they're going to get a double in return. Rapio picks up 2 of his own. OT is going to pick up number 3. Fails is going to fall down. Now it's just Dazer and Maniac. They've got 1 damage dealer and 2 tanks. Who is going to come out on top? Dazer already falling down really, really low, so if they can pick up Dazer, they could potentially look to find more objectives across the board, but Maniac not going to let his support fall down. Look at that roof. He's so well.
Rapio, what are you doing, man? You're Maniac.
Yeah, well, Maniac is the word. And here comes the support trying to save the life of the Soul Lane. A double stun. The Riptide is just shooting Maniac back into the dual lane pit, though. Up into the sky he goes, and there's no saving him, Yamoja. He's already dead.
Sorry, Rapio. Hello?
Yeah.
You're out. You're safe. Don't come back. They've got the kill already. Don't come back. Just turn around and live. But no, it's like in the horror movies when they say, "Oh, I'm out of range of the killer now. I'm gonna turn around and breathe a sigh of relief." No, keep running. Run out the building. Call the police. Just don't turn around in that situation.
There's a murderer on the loose, officer. His name is Fails. He keeps killing us all.
Yes, but instead he dies before he gets a chance to call the police, and now Fails is back alive. Hawk stays, and Street Pup are back up as well. Rapio and Maniac, the only 2 sitting on the bench. The Fire Giant Dance is going to continue again once more, but this time for the enhanced version as we reach minute 35 and 40 seconds, almost reaching minute 36. It was about this time in the last game where Pikarinoobs 2 got their 3rd and final Fire Giant, and were allowed to finally break into that base.
Well, it's like I said, it's going to be one more fight for Pikarinoobs, and that one kind of washed. And I think that's been the underline for most of these fights, right? It's been everyone has one team, normally Hawks Hotel, has gone in, gotten like 3 kills, and then Pikarinoobs come back and get 3 more at the end of that fight, and then it's like there are 2 people left. What can we do with this? There's nothing we really can do. And I feel like that's kind of been the tone of the game, the way that all these fights have kind of gone so far. We haven't really seen a decisive team fight win.
Yeah, it's almost as if both mid laner and ADC have been almost irrelevant in these last team fights. I mean, bless Hawk and Street Cup, they've just been dove on consistently, especially Street Cup. He has just been the target for these team fights. And on the same side, Davey has been the target. They just don't want any ADC shenanigans to happen in these team fights, and I don't blame them. I'm sick of ADCs right now.
Yeah, I can't blame you either. They're so powerful now with this new attack speed build. That Silver Branch bow, as you touched on earlier, gives those overstack powered charges. That's what I like to call them, overstack power charges. Don't question it, but the fight looks like it could break out here. Captain OT, I want to talk about Captain OT a little bit more. I know that we haven't talked about him at all so far this game, but look at his HP. You remember that chunk that Hawks Hotel just took out of his HP?
Yeah, it's gone.
It's not there anymore. Why? Because there is a
Gaia.
new item on the block. It's called Stone of Gaia, and it is very strong right now.
It is, and also Captain OT's got another item which has seen a big resurgence outside of Stone of Gaia, though, gives quite a fair bit of health regeneration. It is the regen item, and Maniac finds Rapio with a good knockup, forced to start the fight a bit early, transforms early, and Tori creating space. Maniac no longer straight into the backline, forced to get there a bit late.
Looking good so far for Pikarinoobs. That is 1 down already. Hawk falls, and that's going to be a big fight. Now, Streak Up, though, does take up the life of Rapio, but he's going to get taken up into the sky for Avalon. Down he goes, and down falls the life of the ADC. However, on the other side, it's still only Rapio. Pikarinu is still alive in this fight, a rare occurrence He's going to manage to pick up a kill onto Dazer, and for the first time in a long time, AJ, we see a decisive teamfight win. Pikarinoobs come out on top, and now they're going to look for this Fire Giant.
Big difference. Mid laner and ADC dead on the side of Hawks Hotel. Mid laner and ADC alive on the side of Pikarinoobs. Maniac caught in two minds about the engagement. That was the big decision. Transforms early in that engagement, forced to turn around to defend from the engagement from Itori, means that he can't get into the backline immediately with that Spear of Mortal Pain, which he used onto Rapio, and fails, stuck in an island in the mid lane. Perfect opportunity for Davey and Pikarino to find themselves on the opposite side of the jungle to him to give themselves the time to breathe.
They're going to pick up the Fire Giant, and, well, breathing isn't apparently a thing that Hawks Hotel like to do, because well, I hope it's not a thing that they like to do, because now the Pikarinoobs have found themselves into a comfortable position, I don't think they're going to let Hawks Hotel have much of a breath. I'm expecting this left tier 1, that right tier 2, the left tier 2, the Only Fury, the mid tier 2, and all 3 Phoenixes to probably be gone by the time this Fire Giant burns out, if Pikarinoobs have anything to say about it. And looks like they're going to potentially start with this Fire Giant. Everything has just gone eerily still for a second here. I don't know how to feel about this.
Yeah, I mean, Hawk and Maniac want to contest this objective. The rest of the team are sort of blazing around the area as well. Dazer around the side of the objective. Only Fury almost dead already, and it is going to go. Maniac jumps in. That could spell doom for him, but a full-match Spear of Mortal Pain starts off the fight well. The side of Hawks Hotel.
Potentially, and Rapio's going to go straight up into the sky. Maniac looking to find something, but straight back down comes Rapio, finally dealing with the issue that is Maniac, and fails. They're both going to fall down right at the start of the fight. Dazer's going to join them very shortly after, although looks like that Mantle of Discord is going to do well to stun everyone around him, but not long enough. He's going to fall down. Streak Up and Hawk, we've always said this entire game, it's just been the carries that have died. Let's see how Hawks Hotel can do when it's just the carries alive, as Pikarinoobs are going to bomb it down mid, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a tier 2 power, followed by a Phoenix, and could they go? If they get a kill on either one of these players, they could end this game.
But they can end even with Hawk and Streak Up both alive. I mean, Streak Up does have Desert Fury. Hawk does not have Final Judgment. I think that's the big thing that they would be worried about. This is going to be the end. It's over. Hawks Hotel will be the first team in Europe eliminated from qualifying for the Phase 4 finals. Big throws.
So, okay, let me just sum this game up real quick. Okay?
Okay, I'm listening.
Pikarinoobs ride high from the first game. They have a pretty similar early game to the first game, right? Where everything's a little, even. Hawks Hotel start to build up a little bit of a lead, and then Pikarinoobs shut it down. And then they lose fight after fight after fight after fight. Hawks Hotel look poised to win the game. Pikarinoobs win one fight. They win one fight decisively, and that's it. That's the game.
Yep, that's pretty much it. Yeah, Pikarinoobs too have learned the ultimate lesson from the Pappies, which is just win one team fight. That's all you need. It's legitimately all you need to win the game. It's just that one team fight. And to be fair to themselves, fair to Pikarinoobs too, or to be less fair to Hawks Hotel, it wasn't even a switch up that Pikarinoobs made themselves. It was Hawks Hotel trying to commit to Rapio straight away on the pre-Fire Giant fight. And it was just a bit too far out of range. And without that big, huge, engaging tool that was Maniac and Fails being by himself with the wraparound, had to go back through the jungle to where he was before. That was just too much time for them to get back into that fight. And ultimately, that one engagement, that one target miscall cost them the game.
Yeah, and it do be like that. It do be like that. It's one of those things. We were talking the entire game about Pikarinoobs having to shut down Maniac, having to shut down Fails, who've just been spending the entire game running rampant, getting kills everywhere, left, right, and center, and finally they make that switch, they overextend, and Pikarinoobs are just able to capitalize off of it. As you said, textbook.
Yeah, I wouldn't call the rest of the game textbook, but the...
No, but the ending, the last part.
yeah, the response from Pikarinoobs 2 was exactly what you want to see from teams that are looking to qualify for this Split 4 finals. It is professional, it is calm, it is methodical at times as well. They see that one reason doesn't work, so they look for a different reason. They look for a different approach to these fights, and they just keep at it, they keep at it, don't let themselves get down. And all of a sudden, they find the breakthrough that they need. But like I said, unfortunately for Hawks Hotel, they're now 0-4, which mathematically eliminates them. Pikarinoobs 2, though, now find themselves 2 for 2. If they manage to find that final set win next week, I think with the fact that they are ahead of the Puppies on the head-to-head, they would qualify as 3rd seed at minimum.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking about it earlier. I'm super excited about Pikarinoobs. I think they really have what it takes to go the distance. The only team they have to fight now, if I'm not mistaken, is Snake Pit, which is going to be a tough team for these guys to beat. We saw how they played against Belt Slap. Snake Pit are currently tied for 1st place with Belt Slap. So we'll have to see. But at that point, it also relies on the other teams. But speaking of Belt Slap and Snake Pit, AJ, we've got that game coming up in just a few minutes. So ladies and gentlemen, stay right where you are, because we'll be back with those shortly.